if Miss Hoover could tutor, I don't think she could do the job. Behind these bars like I'm Snake, can't kill the boy sideshow Bob. For the video shoot, got Lou with me like Eddie, but I am no cop. I could educate you on a thing or two with this music stuff. Do we like go?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you so much for joining me for this brand new interview. Man, okay, so I got a special one for you guys. So you see, I'm talking to someone today. Like, you see, I had these other interviews before, but this one in particular is pretty unique because I'm not just talking to a professional wrestler. Of course, that's reminiscent to the Canada scene, the Canada pro wrestling scene, but he's also a YouTuber, he's also a rapper, and he's also a dad. And he actually has this in his bio as well, actual pro wrestler, actual dad, actual rapper as well. And, you know, just getting a chance to get a conversation with this individual has been I've been kind of debating about it for weeks, but thankfully we got something together. We got something put together as well. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the one and only Kevin Bennett. How are you?
Hey, what's going on? What's up, my man? What's up, everybody?
So this is cool. Like I mentioned before, I am talking to you for the first time. And this is cool because, again, I've watched some of your stuff within the past several weeks. And a good friend actually recommended me to your YouTube channel as well, which you guys could go subscribe down below. And it's actually cool to see what kind of material you're making inside the ring and also outside the ring.
Right. Yeah. It's I'm pretty much all over the place when it comes to content, man. Always just trying to think up new ideas and just stay fresh and trying to stay relevant.
Yeah, especially during a pandemic, I feel like that you're really taking advantage of the opportunities, you know, with your rapping, your YouTube channel, you know, especially with wrestling kind of going at a slow pace right now.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know how many people really even know this, but my last match that I had was in March. Like, I know there's been a bunch of promotions that have been active during this pandemic, and I haven't had any wrestling action this entire pandemic, and it's pretty depressing, but I've literally been out since March. Like, my last match that I had was against the Brooklyn Brawler in Toronto in the main event. So that's how I went out this year, man, just against the Brooklyn Brawler, and nothing since. So yeah, it's been something, man.
Yeah, and what was it like kind of sharing the ring with someone like Brooklyn Brawler, being a WWE legend and all?
Well, I've had a couple matches like that in my career where, you know, they put me up against like the WWE legend, like Hall of Famer, like attraction match and whatnot, and yeah, they're very interesting, obviously, because he's an older guy too, so it's like he's not like how he used to be. He's not in his prime, that's for sure. But it's just cool to even just like talk to him, you know, just hear stories, because that's what I heard, like a whole bunch of crazy stories from his career and things like that. It's just cool to be around those kind of people. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and speaking about Kevin Bennett, of course, we talk about the professional wrestling superstar that he is, that the crowd obviously has their reception when it comes towards you. Of course, whether that's negative or positive, whenever you do walk into an arena, you do get that reaction. Can you talk about where that passion for professional wrestling started for you?
Yeah, so I got into wrestling, actually, I would like to say it was 4th grade. I think I was about 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old, and I had a buddy that he had a Nintendo 64, and pretty much everybody in my neighborhood had a Nintendo 64. But it's really weird. Like, the way that I was introduced into wrestling was because of Nintendo 64. So I mean, like, I've seen clips on TV and everything like that, but it was never really anything that grabbed my attention, which is really strange. Until I played this WWF No Mercy game. So my buddy down the street, he's like, man, you got to see this. This is crazy. There's guys that jump off of ladders, go through tables, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, yeah, man, you got to bring that thing over. So, like, I remember he was playing as Jeff Hardy, and they were doing, you know, he was doing, like, the swanton off the ladder and things like that. And I was like, is this a real thing? Like, you're telling me this is a video game, obviously, but he's like, no, man, they do this on TV. I'm like, I gotta see this, you know, this is insane. So yeah, man, like that's kind of where it started. And then I was asking my mom to buy the pay-per-views and things like that. And it was just like a whole nother world to me, man. It was just like, just the theatrics, the entrances, the theme songs, like just larger than life type of thing, you know, and I've never seen anything like that before. And I'm sure everybody can say the same thing. Like wrestling is just, it's hard to even like explain it to somebody that has no idea what it is, you know. It's like there's people that ask me, or like if they've heard that I'm a wrestler, they'll be like, oh, you know, what weight class are you in, or you know, just like that kind of stereotype like wrestling thing, I guess. People that aren't familiar with pro wrestling, like it's hard for me to even really explain to them like what wrestling is. It's like it's not that kind of wrestling, it's like it's this kind of wrestling, you know. So I think that's what I love about it, is like it's hard to even really explain it to people because it's so different. It's just so in your face. And but yeah, that's where it came from, man. It started as a video game, and then watching it on television and just being blown away by the whole thing. So, and here we are 10 years or years and years later, you know, doing it for 10 years. I haven't got sick of it yet. So
well, I mean, speaking about, you know, you talk about the passion that you have for professional wrestling. It truly is an art. But what I do also find an art too is your rapping as well. I mean, the way that you do these freestyles on Instagram, on your YouTube page, it's truly something special because you're really combining your passion of rap to also applying it to professional wrestling. So can you talk about like where that passion for rapping came for you?
So yeah, pretty much like rap and wrestling. I would like to say that I first got into hip hop music around the time that I got into wrestling. So it was very strange. It was like they're two completely different things, obviously, but I feel like they blended together in a pretty unique way because obviously it's entertainment in both aspects. But that's another reason that I really love wrestling too, is because it had that music aspect to it. And like there was even a point in time where I just liked the wrestling for the music. Like I would have my parents buy me the theme song CDs. Like I have a whole binder of them in my room. It's just pages and pages and pages of theme songs, and I was just obsessed with those, you know. So it was like I got into hip hop because my older brother, he had friends that were rappers. So that was like another thing. I was just like, you know, I've heard of rap music, obviously. I've heard of hip hop, but like I didn't know that you could do it yourself. Like he was telling me that his buddies that I've known, you know, since like the day I was alive, were making hip hop music, and he would put CDs in his car, and he'd be driving me and my little brother around, and he'd be playing his friends in his car. And I thought it was like the craziest thing, man. I was like, this can't be real life, you know? So like, and just as a kid, I've always been like an artistic kind of kid, always loved to draw, always just kind of like to make things myself. So I looked at that and I was just like, this is insane. Like these people literally made their own music. Maybe I could do it too, you know? So I had keyboards at home, you know, just like little children toy like keyboards and things like that. But I had like a radio that had like a built-in microphone, and if I put a cassette tape in it, I could record myself from wherever the built-in microphone was in that radio. But yeah, like I would play songs on the keyboard and then write lyrics to it, and then every time that my brother's friends would come over, I would play this for them. And they would like bob their heads and stuff, and thinking I'm like 8, 9 years old, you know, but I'm like, man, this is crazy, you know. So it was like hip hop was one thing, wrestling was another thing, but it was like I loved them both so much. Like there was no picking between the two, I guess. So it wasn't until years and years later that I did combine the two, but I mean that's a whole like other story.
Of course, and you know, you do talk about your passion for both professional wrestling and rapping. Was there anybody in particular that inspired you to do both?
Oh, to do wrestling and hip hop at the same time?
Or either or.
I mean, I don't think that there's really like a certain person, I guess, that really influenced me. I don't know. I guess here, I'll be honest with you. I was very uncomfortable mixing the two. I did not want rap music to be involved with my wrestling career. For whatever reason, I thought, you know, like John Cena, R-Truth, like you have your stereotypes when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? And that was one thing that I just didn't want. I didn't want to be like a John Cena wannabe or the R-Truth .2, you know what I'm saying? So like, over the years, I realized that if you really want to make it in anything that you do, you can't be somebody that you're not. I feel like it's more natural to just be who you're supposed to be. And that was the thing that I was missing early on in my wrestling career. I was trying to be just a white meat, babyface Kevin Bennett that just did some cool moves and stuff. And, you know, just, I guess, let my babyface, long blonde hair, Justin Bieber type look get me through, you know. But that was the thing. I didn't really feel myself doing that. And also, when I started doing hip hop shows and things like that, like, I was already wrestling years prior to doing any hip hop shows. So it was like when I got on stage to do hip hop shows, the wrestling already kind of like took the edge off when it came to getting on stage. Because the two dudes that I was rapping with, I had a rap group back in the day, they've never really got on stage to perform. But it was like me, when I got up there, I just fed off of it. Like, it was easy. I'm like, man, I'm in front of hundreds of people all the time. Like, this is amazing, you know? So like, it was just, it took me a while to realize that that was just who I was. Like, I couldn't separate the two any longer. And I had, you know, people kind of throw it out there, like, why don't, like, you're really good at this rap thing, you're really good at this wrestling thing, like, why don't you put these two things together? And I was like, you know, trying to give them that excuse, like John Cena, R-Truth, whatever. But they were like, you got to stop saying that, because, yeah, there might be a John Cena and an R-Truth or whatever, but there's not a Kevin Bennett. You are doing it completely differently. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, my hip hop character is, it's not like, you know, basic thugonomics type of thing. Like, mine is more so, I don't know, I'm like a hip hop pop star, I guess. Like, that's kind of like how I feel like my character comes off. And that's how I feel. Like, I don't just rap, I sing too. You know, like, I used to freaking, I don't know, be the heartthrob of our rap group, essentially. Like, I was always taking my shirt off and wetting my hair and shaking out in the crowd. Like, I felt like a hip-hop pop star, man. It was awesome. So I really took that, and I was like, you know what? These people are right. I'm not John Cena. I'm not R-Truth. I am Kevin Bennett, and I'm just going to roll with it, and I'm going to keep going.
Absolutely, and it's that passion for professional wrestling and rap that keeps motivating you to keep going. What I do want to point out is, of course, in your bio, in your Instagram, which you guys can follow, link in the description below, it says actual pro wrestler, actual rapper. But then there's also the actual dad. Of course, you do have your family. That's a huge inspiration to you. How much has that had an impact in your wrestling career?
So actually, you know, it was really scary, obviously. They always say that what's the saying? That you're never actually ready to have a child. Like, there's never really a good time to have a child. And I mean, I guess that definitely holds some truth, because, yeah, I remember when we found out that I was going to be a father. It was definitely one of the craziest feelings, because I was just like, man, I have this wrestling career and I got this music career, and oh my gosh, like, am I going to be able to do anything anymore? Because that's like one of the horror stories, I guess, that, you know, like, you're not going to have any time, blah, 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 or whatever. And honestly, it's really not true. You can make your life work with no matter like what is thrown your way, and that's what I've done. And honestly, having a baby, having my daughter, becoming a father, has made my life so much better in so many ways, in music, in wrestling, in just everyday life. Like, my motivation to actually get things done now is like times 10. when it was like, I don't even remember what it's like to not be a father. So, because I remember, you know, without the responsibility of her, like, she's taking a nap right now. I'm still on duty, essentially. She's taking a nap right now. So, yeah, like, I couldn't remember what it was like without her, because I remember I would just get home from work, sit on the couch, and there's nothing to do, you know, like, I can just chill, I could just relax. But now it's like with her, we got a set schedule. You know, like, I got to get this music stuff done. I got to work out. Like, I'm always go, go, go all the time. And, like, when I do get to chill for a minute, it's like, you know, I'm still watching her, making sure she's not doing, like, a swanton bomb off the couch. It's still, like, you know, but it's really helped me, man. And I feel like a lot of people need to realize that you know, are thinking about having kids or whatever. I really, that's just my opinion on it and how my life has been. It's totally made everything so much better.
And not only is Kevin Bennett a champion outside the ring, he is also a champion inside the ring as well. He is the current Smash Wrestling champion. So I got to ask, what's your feelings for being champion this long? Of course, pandemic aside, it truly has to feel special to be this, you know, be this long of a champion.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I remember my first longest title reign. I believe it was the ESW Interstate Championship. I forget what year it was, but I turned out to be one of the longest reigning champions. But now I like to say that Smash Wrestling, I've definitely topped that. I mean, if you want to include the pandemic, I mean, I'm a champion every single day. You know, I can sit on the couch and I'm still the damn champion out in Canada. So yeah, it's cool, man. It really is. It's a good feeling to be the champ.
Absolutely. And not only that, you know, once the pandemic is over, we hope to see more of Smash Wrestling and, of course, wrestling events in the future. But, you know, there is wrestling still going on, technically, which they do have this one promotion called All Elite Wrestling. They do have World Wrestling Entertainment, and, of course, they have Impact Wrestling. So in the future, can we potentially see in your career, whether that's after the pandemic, during the pandemic, a chance that we might see Kevin Bennett show up on any of those three promotions, as I mentioned before?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I'll say now, I think All Elite Wrestling is definitely a place you'll see me in the near future. I'm probably during the pandemic, to be honest, because I don't even know when this whole thing is going to end. But yeah, it would be funny that my last match would be against the Brooklyn Brawler in Toronto, and then my first match back in All Elite Wrestling. So yeah, don't count that out, because I have good feelings about that. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So once again, Kevin, I do want to thank you so much for being a part of this conversation and really getting taking the time out of your busy schedule as a father, of course, and as a pro wrestler and an actual rapper to do this interview. But before we go, I do have one final question, and that is, what is your biggest goal in rap, and then what is your biggest goal in professional wrestling?
So I guess both of those tie in together. Definitely want to just make a full-on living off of the both of them, but I would like to say I would like to get to a point where it's like, in music, I want to be able to just live off of the income that I get from that. Not saying that's the only income I want, but I would like to get my money up to the point where it's like I wouldn't have to do anything else. And then same with professional wrestling, but with professional wrestling it's a little bit different. I definitely just want to be a top talent. I want to be a weekly TV star, just like I said in 4th grade when they went around the room. Mrs. Grimm, she went around to everybody and said, "What do you all want to be?" And when it was firefighter, police officer, lawyer, doctor, and then Kevin Bennett came up and said WWE superstar, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. Well, I'm telling you, I'm sticking to that. So 100%. Making a living doing this, but also living the dream to the fullest.
Oh, awesome. Well, once again, Kevin, thank you so much. Make sure you guys follow him on all social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Of course, link will be down in the description below. I mean, look at what the man has done. The freestyles that this man has done. Holy smokes. The things that he made, man. Again, I had to go back to the oven thing. Just making a whole beat out of an oven, just opening stuff. It's so crazy.
Oh man, the creativity, that's where it lives. We're in my living room. It's where a lot of my ideas come from too. So
Well, once again, Kevin, I do want to thank you. And until we meet again, I will see you guys in the next interview.
all right, my man. Thank you.
You better go learn, not my prop. Even if Miss Hoover could tutor, I don't think she could do the job. Behind these bars like I'm Snake, can't kill the boy, sideshow Bob. For the video shoot, got Lou with me like Eddie, but I am no cop. I could educate you on a thing or two with this music stuff. Do we